Hello and welcome to a little coffee and a whole lot of Jesus.
I almost missed my point.
That was well done.
Because I wasn't there last time.
You weren't, so you want to make sure you nailed this one.
I was there, but I wasn't there. Yeah.
You were in the room where it happened.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, here we are with our podcast, and we're so glad to have you guys with us. I'm Pastor Michael, Pastor Nett, Pastor Chester, Pastor David. I don't know, a bunch of pastors. Let's see what happens. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything.
Yeah.
You know, who knows what will happen.
Ain't no telling.
No telling.
Ain't no telling.
Because it's been brought up to us today to talk about the exchange. Let's say the exchange.
I don't like that word.
The exchange between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Right? Now to be fair, I did not see this happen. I wasn't watching I hadn't watched it for so long time. So I don't know. I don't know who people are watching these days or not, but I wasn't watching.
To me.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. I saw it the next day on Instagram.
Right.
I saw some things happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's some thoughts about this and what people think or feel about it. And we're not normally into current events, so we're trying this out to see how we sound and if we can deal with social events or not. We're going to find out today. But I have watched a video, so I think Pastor Chester's going to play it for you guys. And so we're going to watch it together here and enjoy this short clip.
Censored.
He can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television.
Okay. We have now seen the moment. What was I'm just curious, what was your initial thought when you see this hand? It was well performed.
So I responded in my flesh at first. But at first I thought it was a joke. At first.
Yeah.
Then when I found out it was real,
because that was the thought.
Laughed. You know, then I said, let me look at TikTok to see all the memes that they are.
Because there's going to be bunches of them. Yeah.
At first, it's funny. It was funny. To me, I really get punched. You got slapped.
Slapped. I'm open hand.
Yes.
He had his legs planted.
Yes.
He had a full.
He turned with his hip and everything.
Well, he had all that practice from swinging that racket.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lord.
Hey, you know what? I will say this about Will Smith. Will Smith is probably one of the most trained people in combat type stuff. All the movies he's done, in the boxing movies he did, he went through all that training. This guy is not some weakling or someone doesn't know what he's doing. He knew how to make that
And Chris Rock knew that too.
Yeah.
And what's that?
Chris Rock knew that too.
Oh yeah, he knew.
Because once he hit him, he was looking for the second.
He was saying,
and you really slow it down.
1, 2.
He was like, am I going to get hit again?
Dude, I felt I didn't know how to feel when I saw it at first. I felt bad for Chris Rock immediately. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I didn't get the joke at the time. Whatever the joke was, I missed it.
I'm sorry I left. So you're not making me feel bad.
Well, I missed it because I didn't know what the joke was. I was like, what's going on? I'll just see, because the video I got was really short. It just showed, you know.
And then when you watch the whole thing, you see more.
Yeah, right. So I didn't see some more. Now, you showed me another video a few minutes ago that showed Jada's face, which is Will Smith's wife. Now, am I wrong to say it looked like he was laughing or something?
Yes,
maybe?
at first he laughed. It looked like more diplomatic type, like I'm not going to get mad.
Clapped his hands.
Yeah. And then, but you can see.
Well, here's the thing, though. They've been pushing the edge for many years. I mean, they have these comics to come in to push the edge.
Right.
And so, they were setting it up for the perfect
Ricky Gervais
storm.
a few years back, I mean, went after that whole group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, even calling them pedophiles in some cases.
Yeah, so they've been really pushing the edge and really harsh for a while. And
I think it's always been like that.
But isn't that kind of the atmosphere that we're living in? Isn't that kind of the society we're living in right now?
I'm sorry. When I grew up, I got picked on. I picked on people, and it made me tough. I mean, not saying that people are sensitive. Some it's just a little different now. It's just like I don't know. The media make us like that.
Right. Well, I don't know about that. I know what it feels like to get picked on. I know that feels like. I know it feels like get punched in a space full of people, and also you're the one guy getting hit. Right. You're not sure why you got hit.
It's different ways to get picked on. Fun ways, and then.
Well, I mean, can't they set it up to where they could have stopped this award shows a long time ago. Let's don't make it such a point of contention. Right. Say something funny, get us all laughing, and let's give people their awards and enjoy the moment.
You don't have to be mean to be funny.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they've allowed that and pushed that.
I'm different on that.
Well, see, I'm the person who don't like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Me, I'm different on that because that's what we used to call it. Just joking on each other, your mama. Right. And I grew up on that. And
your mama jokes.
We really didn't get too mad until you get a little too personal and stuff like that. Right. But most times, just jokes. Yeah, that's what comedians do. It's almost like a pass for them. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. But it's almost a pass for them to say something. But this joke, I seen way worse.
It didn't seem.
I understand.
Didn't seem as egregious as.
Right. It's a G.I. Jane joke, but I know that she has
alopecia. Yes, I think I heard.
I get that. I don't know if Chris Rock knows that, but Joe Blow knows it.
Right. Yeah, because I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I didn't. Only till after seeing the video did you do some research. Oh, okay. So Will Smith's wife Jada has alopecia, has been struggling with this issue.
I'm sorry, her hair been low for the longest. She's been doing that in Matrix.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Will Smith, when you look at it and he's sitting there clapping, whether he's being whatever polite or whatever, he's sitting there clapping, and then all of a sudden he flips on a dime. Right. I mean, we're talking like within 5 seconds. Right. You see all of a sudden you see her face, and he's like, maybe I better go defend my honor so I can go home tonight. Oh man, I better go do something.
Right, and we don't know what they've been through. We don't know what the conversation before they got there. We don't know that. All right, we don't know anything. All we know that Will Smith smacked.
So, what's your impression of that? I'm curious. You're the only girl on the panel here.
Woman.
She's my girl.
If it offended me like it apparently offended Jada, I'd have took care of my own business.
Right.
I mean, I'm a conceal and carry kind of girl for a reason, and
we're not just going to start shooting.
No, I'm just saying that I'm the type of person who prefers to take care of my own business instead of having someone else take
do it
care
for you.
of it.
But
in that grand scheme of things, I mean, I've never watched a full, a red table or round table, something like that. But I know that the essence of it is about the authenticity and the rawness, and that's how she has set her most recent platform up. And not saying it's okay to be mean to people, but whenever you're out there on, as a public figure, and you splay everything else open for the world to have their opinion about, you should go, well, that's their opinion.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Look at pastor. My dad was a pastor, right? Oh, he still is a pastor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, and now I'm a pastor too, and people will talk about you.
Oh, sure.
You will find out.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had anyone say anything about me.
Aren't you blessed?
And let's see how honest we can be. I'm be raw. How many times have you wanted to walk up?
How many times?
Oh, dear God, help me, Jesus.
I'm afraid to give an answer to that specific
that's why,
question.
I'm just going to go to praying right now.
So I got a
We're going
question
to call
for
it
y'all.
Fasting and Prayer Week.
Right. I got a question for y'all. What's the biggest difference between thinking it, going over your mind, smacking the willing on it,
rehearsing it,
but not acting on it, not the action on it?
Right.
Before, I know I've seen some responses. It's so much like Will Smith, I used to respect him and all the different things.
Right.
Which I don't agree with and stuff like that.
Sure.
But of course, Will Smith got some ideologies that I don't agree with and everything.
Sure.
But he's Will Smith. I'm Chester Beamer. Whatever. But what do y'all think about it? Like,
who wants to answer first? Because I got some thoughts. But the first thing is in regards to reacting. Is that what you asked me? Was it reacting?
Like in your head, just
the thoughts.
Yeah, what's the
thoughts?
difference between the thoughts
how bad?
Thoughts will lead to actions if thoughts are under control.
Right.
So, I heard my mom say this years ago. She said, I think it was my mom who said it. She said, you can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can prevent it from building a nest in your hair.
That's good.
So talking about thoughts, right? So thoughts will come through. Do I get aggravated sometimes? Yes. Yeah. And thoughts will fly through. Now, if I take hold of that thought and start going, okay, now I want to practice my anger.
When you develop a plan.
Now I'm walking in, or maybe not even anger, maybe lust. Okay. Yeah. I take that thought and I begin to create another world with it, and I begin to live in that thought. Now I am literally preparing my anger. I'm planning my wrath. I'm planning my anger, or I'm planning my lust. Right. Now I'm walking in sin. I can't prevent every thought that comes through. That's an impossibility, because our thoughts, we have thought. It's what you do with the thought that hits you, and how you hang on to it.
Well, I mean, anger and sin not.
Right.
Yeah. So now, I mean, break down, okay.
Exactly.
You can anger and sin not. So when does it become sin?
Well, it's like Psalm 37 says it like this: refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself. It tends only to evil. When you begin, matter of fact, it's actually okay to get angry. It's okay, but your anger cannot turn to wrath. That's why the Bible says, "Don't let the sun go down in your anger." Right? Because I think the King James actually says, "Anger not, but don't let the sun go down in your anger." Oh, be angry, but don't let the sun go down in your wrath. There's a difference in anger and wrath. And so when you begin to look at those two things, you go, "Okay, I'm angry. I'm letting it build up within me." It will rule your day.
So could that be when it turns into sin? Because then when it goes from anger and it goes into wrath, because wrath now becomes vindictive, it becomes vicious, it becomes hurtful. I mean, according
to the Hebrew definition of wrath.
Oh, she's breaking out the Hebrew.
Well,
she went there.
Come on, she's started
here. Wrath is broke down to mean heat, anger, poison.
Right.
So whenever it transitions, like you said, the bird flies over, let it keep going. But to me, whenever it starts developing into something other than just a thought, a passing thought, that's when you set yourself up for wrath.
Here's another verse for us to hear. Ecclesiastes 7:9. Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools.
That's good.
You know, how we deal with the frustrations of life, how we deal with the thoughts of, because I'm going to be, you're messing with my wife. Yeah, I understand. I understand the desire to go up and I want to stop your mouth from moving for a few minutes. Right. I get that. I get that. Is that the best approach in the moment? No. Of course not. But the idea that it's there, because if you're not careful, you'll become the fool.
Right.
And I think if we watch that video, and I think you see it in his face later, he had men like Denzel, who I would love to meet one day. Yeah. Talking to him and making a statement. What was he said? Something along the lines of...
Well, when Will Smith won, which I hate. Well, I love that he won, but I hate that this is what we talk. People talking about.
It's overshadowed.
Right, because he was King Richard, right? That's what it was. I watched King Richard.
It took away from King Richard. It took away from the Williams sisters. It took away from that whole staff. Everybody work on, I work on film. It takes a lot of people to work on that film, and they all get a knowledge, but it's kind of hard now. The only thing people talking about is.
Now, I'm going to say something that may be a little strange, but I watched King Richard, and I thought it was incredible. He did a phenomenal job in that. But in that whole movie, he's defending his family.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right? In that whole movie.
Did he get into that
Was
mind?
he still... Right. And so, he brings it up. I saw a little bit of a speech a minute ago from somebody.
Hold on. Before that, Chris Rock brought it up. When he came up, he started walking towards us. He said, "Oh, King Richard."
Yeah.
He admit... You know what I'm saying?
So he already set the tone. Maybe it was a little subliminal hint drop, because in that movie, and it's amazing to see how the Williams sisters grew up in that scenario and how their dad pushed and pushed and put. It's phenomenal. Maybe somewhere here he was still feeling that. Maybe he was still feeling that.
He said something about it in the speech.
Yeah.
He said, well, I guess I'm that crazy dad defending his family.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I don't know that I would have done that specific thing. I know that what you're there to do and accomplish that night is a much bigger event than, me getting upset about something.
Could I waited and talked to him?
And even that, if you wait long enough, you have the microphone to yourself.
Yeah.
And the whole world can listen. You can say whatever you want to say. Right. In rebuttal to how the person made a comment, and you could totally disarm everything but what you say when you get in that microphone.
I had moments where I got so angry that I literally did not control myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I would say display some grace too. We don't know. We don't know what they're going through. And I hope people refrain from talking about this man as though they know him. You know,
right?
We don't know him. We just know of him or know what he does and stuff like that. And most of the time, he try to display motivation, positivity.
Yeah,
this is way
usually that's what you don't see.
I
saw one of the funniest things. I know this is horrible, but it was funny. I saw a comment under the video, and it said, "This is why his mom moved him with his auntie and uncle."
I'm here for the jokes. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for the jokes.
That was the greatest.
I'm just here for the jokes.
So when we encounter those things, in life. Mm-hmm. So how should we respond?
Well,
biblically,
Proverbs 15:1 says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger."
Yeah,
which is great in theory, but in the heat of the moment, oh man, it's already stirred up.
It's stirred. So which one are we in this? Is Chris Rock the one who had a harsh word that stirred up anger, or is it a simple answer? I mean, you can look at it from both directions.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the kicker is. Let me ask you this question: you're preaching.
Oh, he just went there. He went there,
and you're tearing it up. You got the clap going on.
Oh, Lord
you got
Jesus!
The stomp happening. Everyone's involved. And then somebody just comes walking up, right, and just
smacks you.
Smack.
I think what would you do?
Okay, the way he handled it is phenomenal.
I was shocked.
And I pray to God above that I would have enough Jesus in the middle of that sermon about Jesus to be able to handle it as good as Chris did.
There you go.
Do I back up and say, "Hey, safety, the safety team"?
What is it, Pat Head?
Oh yeah,
that, right?
Remove him.
That's time to go.
Or do I? Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. I think it depends on how much I prayed up before that sermon. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
The Holy Ghost is in you at that very moment.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, because the flesh man, it can snap in a moment.
Right.
I mean, we just seen Will Smith demonstrated that. 1 minute he's laughing, the next minute he's hitting.
Within seconds.
And all of us have that beast inside of us that's wanting to be unleashed.
Hey.
And it doesn't take but just a moment. I mean, because now I also like to go to, I think his pride was a little bit humiliated as well. Okay, what do I do publicly? That was funny. Oh, my wife really looks hurt. How do I cover up? I just laughed and I just clapped. And my wife is sitting out there hurt. Then I've got to defend her honor.
Right. It did kind of, when you showed me that video of her face, he's laughing. And she was like, not having it.
But some of that still comes from 2016. Okay, that's true. When Chris Rock said some stuff about Jada Pinkett, she boycotted the Grammys because she felt like Will Smith should have got the concussion, the movie Concussion.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Rock made jokes about it, but he kind of kept going with it. He was like, he said, how's she gonna get mad? Don't come when she want to invite her in the first place, you know?
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. He kept going on with different things.
So there's a little bit of a small beef there, maybe.
Maybe it could be.
So, Pastor, now I want to ask you. You're in the middle of preaching first. No.
I can fix all of this. If memory serves me correct, and you
got slapped before?
No, he got choked before though.
That's true.
He did in the middle of service.
He did, and he did handle that very well.
And he was very smooth about it.
Yeah, he did.
Do tell.
Do tell.
He did.
So, we had a disgruntled praise team member.
Yeah.
That we're in the middle of worship service. And I'm walking up to, lead the service.
Oh, I remember now.
And all of a sudden, this person just walks up to me, puts both their hands on my throat. And I'm going, what is happening here? And I just took her arms and pulled them off of my neck and then put my arm around her in a sweet, loving way.
You did a great job.
But it also locked her arms so she couldn't do anything else and just looked over at the security team and said, can you take this person away?
Yes.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, you did. You did very well.
So I did have a moment, sort of, like that. Now, that person was nowhere near as big as Will Smith.
Right. And how many times do we have the opportunity every day? Maybe it's not an actual hands-on experience, but it's a verbal assassination of your character.
Oh, that happens.
And that happens quite often. And you can return another verbal dagger for the dagger you just received.
Exactly.
And what ends up happening, just like football, the first person who swings normally is not the one who gets penalized.
Correct.
But the second one who retaliates is the one who gets the penalty, gets kicked out of the game or the 15 yards or whatever. So saying that, how do we respond when life is not going the way we think it ought to, or we're dealing with those conflicts or those moments?
I'd like to say, first of all, that our praise team is much better now. And we have many more, rules about the platform than we used to back in the day. I'm going to say. I'm joking. But what was funny was the church didn't know what happened.
No,
the way it happened, the way it was able to play it off, it didn't look like it happened. You bring up some great points there, because it's important that we can deal with whatever's inside of us and with whatever the environment is at the moment, right? I mean, if I can't control what anyone says.
No,
I know that Twitter and Instagram and Facebook like to do that now, but according to what I understand about what people can say, I don't have the rule over anybody.
Right. To
tell them they can't say this about me or anything. So in ministry, yes, pastors are the first people to get the negative word thrown at them, because you can attack the preachers, right? Because what are we going to do? What am I going to do? And walk up to you and say, that was so evil. No, we're going to just, you know what?
Leaders usually get attacked.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, we don't like it. I mean, do you enjoy it? No.
But that's what we sign up for.
Right. But it happens.
Right.
And so then you got to find a way, okay, can I heal the person that's attacking me, or is that even possible? You try to do what the scripture says, have that meeting.
Yeah.
Have that one-on-one, have that conversation. And if that doesn't work, bring some witnesses. If that doesn't work, bring the church together.
But back up to that, whenever you have that issue, the person who felt offended is the one who's supposed to go to him. Like, if
supposedly,
I feel like he said something offensive to me, then it's my job scripturally to go to him and say, I'm not sure if you meant it like that, but that really offended me.
Right.
And, in my experience, most of the time, that person who feels offended, they rarely do that, because then they just have their meltdown and then start this gravitational pull to see what other kind of disgruntled folks they can pull into it.
Right.
I want to go back to your question about the what you said about the wrath and, responding and stuff like that. So some people don't know me before. I was a very angry person, not angry for no reason, but if somebody do something, I can be sweet, but you do something to me or my friends or my family, I'm going to you.
Yeah.
And it took a car wreck for me to realize that, because I would just play basketball. Somebody say something, we fighting on the court. So one thing I realized is to deal with that, what a man think, so is he. I think something like that. Think of whatever. But what I realized is that restraint don't start from the action, like I want to choke that person. The restraint starts from thinking about what that person done to me.
Right.
Then I'm replaying it over in my head, like I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Rehearsal. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to do it. But what it is that I'm still sinning in my mind, because I'm thinking about doing this to this person. Just like when guys like lust, you committed adultery in your heart, in your head, when you thinking about it. So that's what helped me learn, because I still had those moments. But now I take care of it in my mind, instead of saying, I feel good just doing this to it. One day I'm going to do this to this person, because I'm thinking
you're rehearsing it. You're planning this.
Correct. So the restraints start right here. Right. Once that bird goes across your head, like, no, I'm going to think like this.
Having full conversations of whatever you're going to say or do.
Yes.
And that's when you really start crossing the line. Now you're getting to a place where even the Holy Spirit can't whisper to you, because you're too busy, caught up on this train of thought.
Too loud.
This is where it's at. So that's the place of danger. That's the place of danger. Now, I've never had someone walk up and just slap me. I mean, that's to me,
say something, do something.
To me, that's an insult more than anything else. I mean, he just basically walked up and slapped a comedian in the mouth.
He punched me.
A punch at least, it took like a man, but you just slapped me. That's like the old gauntlet thing back in the day. They would pull their glove off and go slap. And that was the insult. And really, when Scripture talks about if a man, I'm not going to blank, if he strikes you, turn the other cheek. Well, it's not talking about killing you. It's talking about insulting you. As a matter of fact, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about being slapped across the face. Oh, you're offended at me. Well, here, you missed this side. Yeah. It's not, people have taken that to mean I can't defend myself. No, what he's talking about, it's a slap of insult. I got my glove, I've got my hand, I'm slapping you. You know what, you're offended. I have another cheek, go for that. And now, really at that point in time, kind of be a smart look in my mind, but bring on the next one, right? But that's what it's talking about. Not talking about danger. Now, yes, you did mention concealed carry earlier, but if there's danger involved, now there's next levels we can escalate to pretty quickly, without much pause. But
I think your key word there was when it escalates.
Right.
Once it happens once, you deal with it and be done with it. But when you start repeating it and rehearsing, that tends to bring about the escalation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a whole other thing we don't have time to talk about right this moment.
We got plenty of time.
Just talk about it.
But getting
like 2 episodes out of it.
Controlling your thoughts.
Yep.
Bringing your thoughts into captivity.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a big deal. I mean, because once that dagger is thrown at you, now your thoughts are going to go rampant.
You're right.
And depending on which dog you feed the most is the one that's going to take off. So controlling those thoughts of how you handle the situation.
How many times we say? How many times we say, "Listen, if you only know the thoughts going through my head while I'm preaching."
Oh yeah,
which I love. That's one of my favorite statements you say.
It's true. Things are flying through that I'm not letting out, or we're keeping hold of. That don't belong in here. Because as a human being, you think things, you see things. That person ran their mouth at me last week. Yeah, good to see you down here, Worshipman. Hallelujah. These things cross your mind, right? It's not that they're not there. It's there, and we'll be lying to say it wasn't there.
It's like the Bible kind of, you look at when you read the principles and stuff like, it's like how to respond to different things that's going on around.
Right.
Because even when Jesus was there, things were still going on around. Just like you were showing us the pits of hell or gates of hell.
Yeah.
All that's still going around.
Sure.
And Jesus is still at peace. He was still teaching and touching people and trying to move people towards the kingdom. Right. And things like that are going to happen, people.
Well, I tell you this, and this is just my thought on it. We do a production here we have in the past where we have a crucifixion scene. All right. In that crucifixion scene, the cross drops and we go to a freeze frame. Mm-hmm. Now, we're talking about we have beat this man, this actor, to a pulp already. He's feeling a lot. There's blood everywhere. There's soldiers and stuff. And all of a sudden, everything's screaming sounds and hits the cross, hits the ground, and everything stops. Well, when that happens, it goes dead quiet in the room. Mm-hmm. And you have hundreds of people out there watching this.
And they quiet.
And it's sometimes, almost every time, somebody will start laughing.
Mm-hmm.
A giggle. Mm-hmm. And then another laughter. And then every now and then you'll hear a few people laugh. Well, and to our cast, I've had to explain before, because sometimes the cast are like, what? And even people in the audience are like, would y'all shut up? This is too intense. People are bawling and crying, and others are giggling. And what it really comes down to is having untrained emotions.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It was so overwhelming to the people that were watching it that their only response they could gather was to chuckle, because they were emotionally fried.
Yeah, it's real. That's real. I know people like that.
Yeah. And so what does that do to us? If we allow our emotions to go about unchecked within us, we will always have the wrong response to a deep emotional moment. And that's one of the biggest things that we have to learn as Christians is learning to control my emotions. If looking calm, if on the inside I'm still freaking out, but still being calm, still doing the job necessary without becoming uncontrolled. People that just start busting out in laughter when they're trying to give a speech or something, it's uncontrolled emotion. Their fear has hit them to a place where that's all I got left to offer is a laugh.
I was at a situation yesterday afternoon, and we went to get a bite to eat, and while we were there, a lady became unconscious, and so they had to call 911. And I'd stepped out of the restaurant and I watched the fire truck pull up. I watched the ambulance pull up. And these guys, I'm like, man, wow, if you think they'd be moving just a little bit quicker, the lady's laying there unconscious. Right. And they were very, very strategic in the way they were getting their equipment together. Mm-hmm. They never rushed. Mm-mm. They were moving together in unison, but there was no panic about them.
Right.
And we got to talking, and I looked at Joy and I said, if they started rushing, they could forget a very important piece of equipment that they needed to take to save this woman's life. Or if they did this, they could, hurt themselves trying to get there because they had to walk up these steps and so on and so forth. So I watched the way that they handled an emergency situation. The way we handle those things, which we consider maybe to be emergencies in our life, if we handle them the wrong way, too fast, instead of stepping back to take a moment to think our way through it, or step back and maybe, okay, Lord, give me some wisdom here. If we jump straight into it, then we could actually do more damage and cause more harm, not only to the individual, but also to ourselves, our own reputation, our own, character, if you will, because we're going to handle it, but we actually handled it too quickly.
Cause more damage.
It reminds me of emotion, like emotions are good. God gave us emotions, but when we know how to use them, so we can know something is wrong or something is right. That's what we use emotion for. And like you said, what they did, they know they have an emotion. I'm pretty sure they had something. Like, we got to hurry up. We got to save this woman. But then principles.
They were very calculated in what they did.
You use your principles to control your emotions and then go about the right way.
Step 2.
But they trained to do that.
Right.
So do we have to train the flesh man?
Yes, we do. That's what uncontrolled emotions, untrained emotions.
Putting in of these things of the word and of scripture, that's your only strategic plan to produce those things from happening.
That's why you continue to read.
It's always got to be a continual input. That's the only way you're going to weaken flesh to the point that spirit will override it.
Yeah.
It is the great struggle dealing with humanity.
Absolutely.
The flesh, our flesh, not someone else's flesh. Yeah. And normally when someone gets triggered in a situation, it's because something they truly love or have their heart set on is affected.
Yeah.
So that means an immediate response. I can't tell you the things I would want to do to someone who makes my daughter upset. Right? The thoughts that run through my mind immediately.
I just had that.
So I'm saying. So
my baby heart.
What's the context? What's going on? And try to speak some wisdom into it the best you possibly can through the frustration of whatever's going on. But we have to get better at controlling us.
Oh yeah.
And the better we get at that, the easier it is to deal with major events that happen around us. I think I like Will Smith a lot. Chris Rock, I don't know, comedians, he's okay too.
I love comedians. Chris Rock is hilarious.
I think Will Smith was going to regret this moment a lot.
Yeah.
I know he made a somewhat quasi-type apology to everybody in the room but Chris. Yeah. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a public demonstration of apology from Will to Chris at some phase.
Somewhere.
Because I think Will's a bigger man than that.
Yeah.
And especially after having men like Denzel Washington talk to you and give you some words of it was kind of cool that's the way it played out. There wasn't police brought in. There wasn't security teams had to be brought in. It was handled within the group. Which is interesting to see that take place. And isn't it supposed to be done that way?
Yeah, it was good that he
in
was
the church especially, we're supposed to go deal with this ourselves.
He gave him a little. It showed that he still had humbleness about him. That Denzel can say he could have said, "Man, get off my face." You could have did all that,
right? But he could have, and I've seen men do that.
Yeah.
I know men who claim to be godly men who would immediately go to that resort and push away and get bigger and bagger and make themselves even bigger and mad.
Okay, so. You being lead pastor, if you had a personal connection with Will Smith or with Chris Rock, what would be your pastoral advice?
That's a great question.
I mean,
Well, I would try, first of all, to reach out to both people, not together at the same time, but separately, first of all, and talk to them. Hey, Will, what's going on? Because if I'm his pastor, you can listen to me. If I'm not his pastor, you can listen to me.
Yeah.
That's good. Do it.
This is hypothetical.
You can only correct to the level of your relationship.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So
hold on, Pastor Mike. I want to tell anybody that got some kind of platform just want to bash anybody.
Yeah.
You don't have a relationship. It's hard for you to try to change or reproof them or anything like that. But go ahead, Pastor Mike. Sorry.
No, that's something we learned years ago. If you don't have a level of relationship, you can only correct that level. If they don't respect me as their pastor, they're not going to hear what I have to say.
I respect you as a father, as a friend, as a confidant.
Any of those things.
That relationship.
So if I have a relationship with him, well, then I'm going to call him. Kind of like what Denzel did. He walked right to him right then and going to talk to him because he knows him, right? And so, hey, what's going on with you? How are you? What's happening? I want to find out what's driving you. Well, he said something. Yeah, okay. We all heard that,
right.
But that can't be what's driving you. Because that statement in my mind, I heard it too. It wasn't slap worthy. It wasn't like shake the world worthy.
It means the Joe was whack.
Shut down the whole award show worthy. So what else is going on? And that's the first thing I would go to. Then I would go to Chris and I would say, hey man, I'm impressed you didn't throw another punch or make a bigger scene. Wow, what professionalism. Might want to rethink some of your jokes if you know what's going on. I think maybe you may have pushed the button too much.
No.
And I'd have a separate conversation because I really feel like you got to find out something about why. Why'd you feel this way? Why is your anger building up? Why are you responding, lashing out like this? You look like he was laughing. And all of a sudden you're...
Right.
So there's something else deeper going on. Mm-hmm. Then from that point, then you got to make things right. And at this point in time, the only person to do something physical is Will.
All right.
So at some point, Will, you owe the man an apology. Now, you may not think you do because he said something in a joke that you didn't like. Truth is, not everyone's humor is the same.
All right.
Yeah.
And obviously, his wife was not happy with that joke.
No,
you can see it on her face. I never saw that video just a few minutes ago. And you go, whoa, yeah, you can see how her look may have helped spur his response. But let's be real about this. Raising kids, okay? And my kid insults my wife. Mm-hmm. If you ever had that experience, I'm not going to say who kid, what did what. I'm just saying, let's say they insult your wife, the mother, right? They insult them. Well, it's easy for me to overreact
It is.
to that situation because my anger, what have you just done? And so now I'm overreacting to even someone I know and love.
Right.
So I think we have to be careful on me. Get me the belt. Yeah. You're getting it today, son. It's all in your mouth, right? And that was so. And what am I teaching him though? Am I just teaching him it's time for you to her, or am I teaching you this is the way we're supposed to act and behave? Mm-hmm. And so it's easy to, if we're not careful with something we love being affected, to not have an over response. Usually men over respond, and that's just I can speak for a man. We will over respond to make up for lack of response.
Correct. That's true. That's good.
And now we have we've walked up in the middle of a live worldwide broadcast and have slapped a man to make up for maybe
all the emotions.
Under responses.
Right. You don't know what their conversation was on the way to the award show. I mean, you don't know if they had had it out because she was on his back about not taking care of blah, blah, blah.
And she looked at him and he was like,
he's like, oh, great.
I gotta do something big. Buy jewelry, slap a guy in the mouth. I don't know. Let's slap the guy in the mouth. So
he definitely did big.
He did. He went big. I give him credit. He didn't go small, right? So, but he's gonna have to. I think he's the kind of man that will apologize to Chris at some point in time. I have nothing within this conversation for these people. I mean, I'm not no relationship. No relationship. So I really don't have any input to say. That'd be my recommendation. Will Chris Rock receive it? He took a slap pretty well. Yeah. I think he could take it.
He made a joke right after.
And he made a joke after. He managed to just keep going.
Yeah. He kind of messed up when he tried to go back to it. Like, Dr. Mitchell.
Right. Wow, that was quick. Because that was a good, nice deal. I think there's going to be healing there. There needs to be healing there, regardless of what goes on next.
I hope the world see that.
It needs to be done publicly. Right. You can't do that.
No, you do that publicly, right?
It's the apology has to match the damage.
Right.
That's what people also forget. Well, I hurt you. I told 12 people that. Now I lied the whole time, but I told 12 people that you were evil to me and did things to me. And then when it's time to make it right, I come apologize just to you and not correct it with the 12 people.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
I just hope that he does that because what he said when he got the award. How much he wants to represent love, how he want to pour love into people and stuff like that. But it's a good thing.
Forcefully, I want everyone to have some love here.
Right, and love hurts. But it go through a process too. Love is also forgiving. Right. Also asking for forgiveness too. To me, if you just love, and nothing happens.
Mm-hmm. It's just a word, not
correct.
I wouldn't be the least bit shocked if we don't see a YouTube video come out with Will apologizing publicly to Chris.
You'd be cool with Jetta have him at the red table.
At the red table. I bet that happens. I bet that happens because.
So are we saying that all this could have been a great setup for more comic material, more table material?
I tell you what,
that thing was real.
I think it was real, but I think professionals know how to take a moment like that
and never waste a crisis
and make it greater. So, and I think that's a good point for all of us to keep in mind. Even when someone comes against you or the enemy comes against you to destroy you or harm you, the Bible tells us we're going to have authority over that. Mm-hmm. So even an attack on you can be used, God will use to bless you and to elevate you. Right. Especially if your response to that is something within scriptural responses and not just out of your own flesh. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important. So I know all of us have been through something where someone has said something, done something physical, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But God can take those and bless us through that and even of it. Look at Joseph in prison,
yes,
accused by a woman who was horrific, totally lied, put him back in prison again. Then he tells a prophecy or reveals a dream to two different people, a butler and a baker, and they said, "We'll never forget you." And sure enough, for 2 more years, they forgot him in prison until then God elevates him because his spirit remained the same. Does that mean he wasn't hurt? No, he hurt. Was he miserable? Yeah, he was miserable. But in the end, God's blessing poured out on him, and now the whole world's coming to him to get food.
Right? Because he responded godly.
Right.
He stayed in his lane.
And when he had a chance to get back at his family,
he could.
Beat him up.
He could have did a lot.
And then sold him into slavery. He had every right to say, "You guys get to starve. Matter of fact, I'm going to lock you in a cage and watch you starve to death."
He knows God's greater.
He had every within himself, but he knew God was bigger than that. And so now he just wants to see his Father.
Right.
We have that capacity. I think many of us have been going through hurt moments, hurt things, hurt times, and people have hurt you. There's an old phrase, hurt people. Usually that happens because there's something else going on in that person's life. And it may not have anything to do with you at all. You just had to be at the right time at the wrong moment. And here comes the moment. And I think that Chris Rock was one of those people. I think he was at the right place at the wrong moment. And there was something else going on we don't know about.
Right.
And that's okay. It is what it is. I'm proud of how he handled it. I was shocked how he handled it. It could have turned into a brawl. That would have been embarrassing for everything.
Yeah.
But Chris managed to stand there and joke about it. Wow. Kudos, man. That's impressive. I'm blown away.
Well, he took the response for what he spoke. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how many punches Chris ever thrown in his life, so maybe he's not going to do that period.
Right.
Maybe that's not his thing. His weapon's been his mouth his whole life.
Right.
And I understand how that can work. Being little, that was my only weapon. I got beat up a lot on the playground, but I did give when I had to give verbally. I couldn't compete with them physically, so that's just the way it went down, right? So I think it was a fun conversation.
Yes.
Is there anything we may have missed in that? Is our producer thinking of something we may have not covered?
Yeah.
But
leave a comment is stuff you disagree with or agree with. Be respectful. And maybe we can respond to that, your questions or anything like that.
Yep. Respect is a great thing, and I think that we should do that with everybody we talk to online, especially. It's so easy to say whatever you want to say online, when the truth is we need to be respectful and love humanity regardless.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Hey, we love you guys. Good talking to you. Hope you enjoyed this probably 2-part series. I don't know. Maybe 4-part this point in time. God bless you all. We'll see you soon.
Oh, this is Central Triad Church.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Where we transform lives,
produce disciples, and impact the world.